All right, it looks like we are live here in KW Command Facebook group. Good morning, afternoon, depending on which coast you're on. I am, as always, Danielle Willis. I'm out here in beautiful Northern California, Sonoma County, and we are here, Labs Advisors Live. I am here with Joe McHugh and Evan Ransom. Evan, thank you so much for joining us today. Evan, why don't you tell us who you are, where you are from, and why in the world we should listen to you?
Gosh, well, I can't answer that last one, but what I can definitely say is I am an MCTT and Director of Tech in the Nashville market, and I'm a Labs advisor alongside you fine folks, and we're going to have some fun today.
Beautiful. And Joe, as always, let us know who you are and why in the world you are here.
My name's Joe McHugh. I'm here because I have the StreamYard account, so, that's how that works. And I'm from Connecticut, and I love sharing command with all the peeps out there.
Beautiful. So today we're going to feature, we're featuring Evan because he's got some really great info for us. Evan, what are we talking about today?
So Danielle, what we are talking about today is a fun best practice that I've been working with smart plans, essentially using them in lieu of campaigns. To the goal of addressing kind of some of the difficulties with unsubscribes and unsubscribe people in your database. And this is a surefire way to operate with that.
Beautiful. Well, we love best practices. Let's dive right in. Why don't you go ahead and share your screen with us, and we're going to dig in. And keep in mind, as you're watching this, if you want to comment directly on it, make sure you give permission to StreamYard. It'll show us your name so we know who we're talking to. And of course, if you're watching this on the replay, feel free to comment in the chat there, and we can come back and answer your questions as well. All right, let's dive in, Evan.
All right, good deal. So thank you, Danielle. Thank you, Joe. I want to start off with this with just talking about email unsubscribing, right? We email our contacts, we email marketing, we email all kinds of stuff that are automated, and we have an unsubscribe link at the bottom of those emails where a contact indicates they don't want any more emails from you, right? And I want to talk about first what we know that button will do. We know that when someone unsubscribes from an email that you've sent them through command mail, which is the scope that we're talking about today, that it's going to unsubscribe them from the smart plan or the campaign that you had them on, right? And so it doesn't completely remove them from all emails, which some people might think they might have. But in this case, we're talking about smart plan IDs and campaigns. So if someone's on your neighborhood nurture and they unsubscribe, they will no longer receive a neighborhood nurture from you. With campaigns, when people do one-off blast emails, sorry to share myself there. Excuse me.
I'm going to mute myself. I was watching the stream in another window, and that's my fault. I apologize.
I know we're live.
You're good. So with campaigns and one-off e-blasts that we send out to our sphere on a regular basis, like we have just listed, coming soon, things of that nature, using campaigns with the way unsubscribes work isn't really the best method to me for that. I think there's a different way to go about doing it. So if someone says, hey, I don't want to get, these random email blasts from me anymore, this will ensure that they no longer get those. So what we're going to do is we are going to essentially create one smart plan that we're going to reuse over and over and over again, so that when someone decides they want to unsubscribe, they will no longer get any emails from you if you keep using that one for your random email blast. So essentially it's just substituting smart plans for campaigns. And to start off, let's just open up smart plans. Let's just get into it. Yeah.
Sounds great. Now, this is something that can be used for all agents, right? We can use this for leadership as they're emailing their agents. As an agent, we can use it to email out to our sphere, to our people that we're just, touching every now and again. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. So to really drive that point home that we were talking about a second ago, if someone unsubscribes from my biweekly neighborhood nurture, that wouldn't pull them off other smart plans I might be using, right? It wouldn't pull them off any campaigns in the future that I might want to put them on. So what I'm going to do as a best practice to keeping myself, making sure that people who unsubscribe don't continue to get emails, is I'm going to create a new smart plan. And honestly, the way I've been doing it, I just have a smart plan that's just called eBlast. And this is really, really, really simple. I'm going to use this smart plan over and over again. So I'm going to create it. And then it's going to pull me in. There it goes. And I'm not going to do anything complicated, anything crazy here. I'm just going to simply add an email step. That's it. Just one email step.
So no coding, nothing scary, none of those scary iframe things that people talk about when they know about technology, right?
No, absolutely not. None of that. This is very, very simple. So I'm going to give it the subject line. For this one, I'll just say just listed, open house, good deal. And then we have email type, and I can do simple emails. That's fine. But I know a lot of us utilize campaigns because we want to use those designed emails that we've made in designs. And so I'm going to switch over to designs because smart plans now will actually let you use your HTML email designs inside of here. Garrett Stewart is still scared. Garrett, don't worry. We got you, buddy. By the end of this, no more fear. So I'm going to hit select design. And I'm going to go to my design templates. And I'm just going to grab a random one. So I'm just going to say test. It's going to pull me in. Who knows what we're about to see here? Okay, so there we go. We've got an email that I must have designed with someone at some point. And let's just say this is that just listed. I'm not going to make any changes. I did all my work in designs already. I'm just going to hit save and exit. That's it. And I'm done. That is the last step for this. I'm just going to hit save and come on out. And my personal favorite way to enroll people in smart plans is not necessarily to use the add person button here. I like to go to contacts because in contacts, I can do a lot more bulk actions. I can get a lot more people in a bulk action and enroll them on smart plan than that other menu. So I come here, I set my filters however I want them to be, whoever I'm targeting, get my audience sorted. And I'm just going to say, let's show 500. Massive database here, 399. I'm just going to grab everybody in my database. I'm going to hit select bulk action. And then I'm going to hit add to smart plan. And then I see my eBlast step there. That's the email that we just put in. So I'm just going to hit select. And then I'm not actually going to start it. I'm not actually going to send this out because this is someone else's email. But I would start all now and just hit confirm and let that email run. Now, a couple of things that you're going to notice when that happens is because it's a one-step email. I've heard people that I've shown this to have this question. They'll come back to their smart plans and they'll see no contacts on the smart plan, which is actually what you want in this case, because all that's happening in this plan is they get enrolled, they immediately get the email, and that's the end of the plan. So it all happens rather instantaneously. They get the email and they come right off the plan. Now, if someone gets that email and they unsubscribe from it, forevermore, when I use this eBlast smart plan, they will not get any more emails from there, right? So I'm fulfilling that wish of unsubscribing. The last thing to note is, okay, well, that's great. You have that one email. Well, shouldn't I just make a new smart plan? No, you do not want to do that because that would essentially reset that unsubscription, right, for that particular plan. So if I want to send out another email, just another blast, like I would in the campaigns, I'm just going to come to edit this smart plan. And because everyone got on the plan, got the email, and got unenrolled, the smart plan went back to inactive. So I'm able to edit it again. I'm able to edit within 5 minutes of issuing out that smart plan, which is awesome. So I can change the subject line. Oh, sorry, Danielle. What were you saying?
No, that's brilliant. I love that.
Oh yeah, this is super. This is just like my favorite tip of the year so far. And then I just change subject line. Come down here where that designed email was. All I have to do is hit select new design, and I can come in as long as I've made my next email in designs and it's ready to go. Which we'll just do copy of work with me seller here. Hit got it. Do the same thing. I've done all the work in designs and emails. Hit save and exit, hit save again. And now I'm ready to basically go back and just do it again. Go back to my contacts, find my audience, select all of them, do a bulk action, add a smart plan. And anyone who's unsubscribed from any eBlast I've sent out, they will not get that email because they've unsubscribed from the plan.
That's awesome. So can I ask you to pause for just a second here?
Sure.
I want to talk about best use cases here. So let's talk about how a single agent who is perhaps trying to build build their business, and they want to be able to let people know about an open house that they're holding for another agent. This could be used for that. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So basically any one-off mass email that you want to do, this is the best way to do it. I find it to be a lot easier than any other way because I've already got the email. I'm just plugging it in and adding one step, and it does the exact same job.
And now here I am talking to myself because I forgot I put myself on mute. So 1 second here, Evan, I do have a question.
Yeah.
This is obviously not a catch-all, right? Because if you're using smart plans for other things, those other smart plans will have their own unsubscribe. So people should be aware of that limitation.
Yes.
But for the most part, you're not going to repeatedly send blast emails over and over again to people who don't want them. Is what we're ultimately trying to solve here.
Yeah, absolutely. And to comment on that further, Joe, that's actually pretty standard in a lot of different websites and services. If you ever hit unsubscribe and then it's asking you which things you want to unsubscribe from, right. It's the same concept here. So it's essentially, I have different smart plans. Some of them may be longer term drips, and people may unsubscribe from those, but still want to get my e-blasts. Right. And so they'll still get those. So it gives control to the agent on which plans they're going to create. And it also gives control to the consumer on which emails they want to get and which ones they don't.
Gotcha. Excellent.
This is great.
We do have a couple of questions. Some I don't think we could answer, but we did ask, somebody asked, what's the difference between a smart plan and a campaign? And in this case, let's go from the context of email campaign and a smart plan campaign rather than everything campaigns does.
Yeah. So that's a really good question, honestly. To me, campaigns was more or less kind of one of the original ways that KW was going to tackle email blasts in command. It was very much similar to kind of how MailChimp does things, because originally, way back when, MailChimp was going to be the official partner with this. So campaigns was really built out to be, hey, you make your mailing lists, you have your audiences, and you could do e-blasts with them, right? Whereas smart plans is kind of built more for like nurtures and long-term stuff. So essentially what I'm doing here is really not how smart plans is meant to be used. And I put that in quotes because as far as I'm concerned, if an e-blast goes out, an e-blast goes out. Whatever tool I use to get to that, I did the job, right? I did what I set out to do. And which is why, honestly, I don't use campaigns and emails very much, just because, hey, for a while, you could only use the HTML emails in campaigns, right? And then when smart plans allowed you to do that, I just completely made the switch over, right? And just use those. Because to me, based on, this is just me personally, previous CRMs that I've used, there wasn't a distinction. And so I'm used to it just kind of all being in the long-term nurture, what we would normally call campaigns. We call them smart plans in command.
Right.
I think that's a very valid point to keep in mind. People who used to use eEdge, what we considered campaigns, are now smart plans. It's just a different name, same concept.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, smart plans is your nurture, it's your drip, it's your longer term automated repeat messaging, repeat marketing.
And then obviously campaigns also has the other elements like postcards and Facebook ads and social posts, which is more than just an email email thing. So it has a breadth. And to Danielle's point, smart plans are, you put your 8x8s in there. You put your start here, do X actions plans really exist within smart plans versus campaigns are one-offs. We're just using smart plans to do a one-off to manage the unsubscribes a little more efficiently. So,
and Joe, I really like that you pointed that out. That campaigns is not just emails. Campaigns is a big app. Emails are a part of that. And everything that I've been mentioning, I've been referring to just that email section of campaigns. There's still a lot of great stuff in campaigns. Yeah. I use Facebook ads. I use direct mail stuff. Yeah, thank you for that.
And now Brad also had a question, and the answer ultimately is no on this from the point of, auto launch contacts with an intake form. Again, we're just volunteers with this group. We don't work for KWRI, so that's a better question for them as to if that's coming and in the pipeline.
I do the tip for that.
There are starting some things in Campaign's Facebook ads that will launch where you auto start, but no intake form specifically. But I guess, Evan, you have a workaround. We're not.
Well, I wouldn't call it a workaround. This is I'm actually there's a feature in Command that I see a lot of people overlook, and it's really useful for not just intake forms, but also like Facebook ads, like anywhere where you're getting leads coming in.
Right.
You can set up a smart view for this as well, but you can customize your columns that are in your contacts. You can also sort by these columns, and one of those columns that I'm actually a really big fan of is created date.
Yeah,
this column is awesome, and I actually have smart views. I don't know on this account if I do, but on I have smart views set up to where it literally just filters out everything except for like my leads that are coming in, and I sort that by its created date. And anybody up top, I got them. So if I check that daily, like every morning, I wake up and my first things I'm going to do is just come and just sort by that created date and see who is new. And you can use contact tags as triggers, which I believe we discussed that before or talked about that before. So if I just look here and I see that there's no tags on these inbound ones, that tells me I haven't done anything with them yet. So I can set up my smart plans or whatever auto drip I have for, my new leads and just set those tags up, and I'll see immediately how to get a hold of those. And I can do that on a daily basis.
And that's a really good point, which is, when you put people in your database, tag them right away, right? Tags are the way. I always say tags are the various segments of your database on how you're going to market to them or reach out to them at the very least. If it's nothing else, it's that. So everybody in your database should have some sort of tag, which ultimately tells you, how am I going to market to these people? And so you're basically saying, okay, these people I haven't identified with those channels yet. So what do I do now? And that's a great point. So excellent.
Yeah, you get out of it what you put in. With tech like this, I always tell this joke. I always say, hey, look, I can tell my phone like what I give my phone. I can say, hey, no more location data. Go onto the phone, right? And that's good. I gave it less information. I'm a privacy guy, but good luck getting directions anywhere. It's not going to happen.
Right. Evan, they want to know if you can contact your leads. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I actually generated a fake database for this specifically. So feel free to call those numbers. You're going to get very random people.
Awesome.
And I cannot validate whether or not they are or are not on the DNC. So just be careful.
And I did want to circle back to one thing, Evan. If you could pull up that smart plan again, just because we did talk about tags, and I want to be clear on this. The way you added people to this smart plan through contacts is the best way to do it. Because there is what's called a tag trigger. And in this case, that's not going to work the way you might think, because just associating that tag, if they already had that tag, it's not going to launch, right? It's only new people. So don't use tag triggers for this strategy, but you can sort your database by tags and then add them to this plan. So don't trip up there. Don't make that mistake, guys. Don't use tag triggers with the strategy Evan is talking about here.
Yeah, for the eBlast thing, I don't think tags would be the way to go with that. For your drip nurtures, absolutely. For your new lead intake. And Joe, I don't know if we have enough time, but I did want to mention one thing that I get this question all the time, which is they create the smart plan and they wanna get their trigger going.
Yep.
And oh gosh, you actually have to make the plan and then save it before you're actually able to put that trigger in.
Yep.
So just here we go, save. Awesome. And now that I've done that, add trigger event comes. So you can use pick whatever tag you want.
Yeah. And we had more than enough time. That was real quick. We have 5 minutes. So
that was the fastest explanation of that I've seen in a long time. So how about, let's dive into this for just a second, since we do have a few minutes. What are your favorite triggers to use?
What are my favorite triggers? So for me, on my main account that I would use for business,
He was not given this question ahead of time, by the way.
Yeah. It kind of depends on I'll speak from the perspective of most agents. It really depends on what smart plans you have, like how detailed you're going to get. Because I've seen agents, some of the best use I've seen of it are agents that do a lot of farming, and they have different they have different smart plans for different areas of town. They're very, very thorough. And so when they get some kind of ad response or an input lead that came from that farm, they actually have a specific tag for that specific area, and that will be tied to a campaign. I've seen a lot of that. Also, Facebook leads, if you're running different campaigns that are targeting very different audiences, so much so that you'd want to market differently, then I would create tags for the campaign or the ad that they came from. And that kind of does that. To me, it's just more of a shortcut. It's just skipping the step of having to go in and add them.
And yeah, at the simples of it, like I know an agent who has town videos, right, where they literally tour the town. So if they run an ad for a property in one town versus another, they have a smart plan that's going to send out that video for some people and not others, right? That's going the hyper local we always talk about. And that, to your point, is by creating a smart plan, identical probably about 90% of the content, but that 10% of content that needs to be a little different is just different enough that it's gonna play into who that person is and what type of ad was run on them. So that's
Absolutely.
Yeah, I know someone that's using like a Zapier connection too as well with it. Very, very high level. He's got like 30 different campaigns, all just for Facebook leads for different markets that he's advertising in. It's a wonder to behold.
It really is something to kind of understand that this is a tool, right? Command is a tool that can be used as much or as little as you want within your business, right? So just like any CRM, the CRM that works best for you is the CRM that you use, right? This is a tool for you to use. And if you choose to really dive into it, amazingly, you will find that it is incredibly beneficial and can save you time. And as with all systems like this, it takes time to get it set up, right? It's just like everything else that you're learning. Got to make sure I'm good with that. Oh, Brad's got another question for us.
Yeah.
So Brad, to answer that, it depends. The ones I was talking about, I don't believe the agent shares those. I'm ultimately referring to, your 10 days of pain. I know, I believe you used to teach a class on 8x8s and your 33 touch with now 36 touch. Some of that same content you put into your smart plans and then just tweak it for those kind of very hyper local things that you're following up on. That's exactly what we're talking about. So I don't know if those are shared. They can be shared through the system, but it's up to agents to choose to share them.
So I think he added on here too. He said not shared, just make one a little different. So the idea, Brad, I'm assuming, is that you have that campaign that's 90% the same, and then and then how to make that really easy to get the just little differences. So once let's just say contact tag trigger is like the campaign. I've got 9 steps and all of it's there, but I want to have 3 different ones where there's slightly different information. Just come over to the right-hand side where those 3 dots are and just hit copy. And that will let you essentially copy the whole campaign. So you don't have to recreate the whole thing from scratch now. That's a really good question, actually.
Yeah.
That was a great question. Awesome. Do we have any other questions in the chat before we wrap it up here?
Nothing that I've seen, although it looks like we impressed Garrett with the mind blown emoji today. So
Garrett, are you still afraid?
I mean, maybe a little.
Maybe.
So as Garrett's deciding if his mind is blown so much that he is no longer fearful, I do want to thank everybody for joining us. We want to be respectful of your time as well as ours. And thank you so much for being here. If you're watching this on the replay, please feel free, if you have questions, to put them in there, and we will be happy to come back and check and answer any questions. Garrett is no longer afraid. We are thrilled to hear that. I want to thank you so much for joining us. We are live again. I'm from Northern California up here in Sonoma County. I'm Danielle Willis, one of your labs advisors. We've got Joe and Evan And they are both also Labs advisors. Guys, thank you so much for being here. And if anyone needs to contact us, tag us here and we're good to go. Joe, what you got?
No, I was just going to say thanks for so many questions this week. We haven't had quite this many, so we appreciate that. In addition to that, if you guys have any topics that you want discussed, we kind of go, all of us here are volunteers. We work with KWRI on a volunteer basis. So we're doing this just because we love Command and we want to share it with you. If you have questions or something you want to tackle, something you're not quite getting, or maybe need a way to do it within the system, put it in the comments. We'll look at that and build some content around that. So thank you so much for being here. Joe McHugh, I'm from Connecticut. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you, Danielle.